Gorilla Mind's Gorilla Mode is built around two key ingredients, L-Citrulline and creatine. But what are they, and do they actually improve your performance? L-Citrulline is a naturally occurring amino acid found in foods like watermelon, squash, and pumpkins. It's commonly included in pre-workout supplements because of its potential effects on exercise performance. For resistance training such as weightlifting, research suggests that taking L-Citrulline before exercise may slightly reduce feelings of fatigue and muscle soreness. Some studies have also found modest improvements in performance, such as being able to complete a few more repetitions before reaching exhaustion. However, the benefits appear to be limited to short-term performance. Clinical studies have not found that L-Citrulline increases muscle strength or lean muscle mass compared to a placebo. The evidence is less clear when it comes to endurance exercise. One small study found that taking L-Citrulline before a treadmill running test did not improve performance, although it may have slightly delayed exhaustion. In contrast, another small study found that cyclists who took L-Citrulline daily were able to exercise at a higher intensity and perform slightly better than those taking a placebo. Even so, it did not appear to improve recovery. Overall, L-Citrulline may provide small benefits for resistance training by reducing fatigue and helping you squeeze out a few extra repetitions, but it's unlikely to directly increase muscle size or strength. For endurance exercise, the results are mixed and probably depends on the type of activity. By the way, I review a lot of supplements here, so subscribe and hit the bell to stay updated. And support me on Ko-fi if you enjoy the content. Creatine is one of the most well-researched sports supplements available. It serves as a rapid energy source for your muscles and is naturally found in foods like meat and other animal products. Numerous studies have shown that creatine can improve performance, strength, and power output in athletes. Research in older adults also suggests that it can help increase muscle strength, although some studies indicate the benefits may be somewhat greater in men than in women. Creatine may also help improve recovery between intense training sessions by reducing muscle damage and supporting faster recovery. Where creatine shines is in short, high-intensity activities such as weight training, sprinting, rowing, jumping, and repeated bursts of effort. By helping you train harder and recover more effectively, it can also contribute to long-term gains in muscle mass and strength. However, creatine does not appear to provide as much benefit for prolonged endurance activities such as long-distance running, endurance cycling, or distance swimming. Likewise, sports that rely primarily on technical skill and precision rather than power are unlikely to see much benefit. L-Tyrosine is another amino acid commonly added to pre-workout supplements. It's often marketed as a way to improve exercise performance, but the research does not support this claim. Studies have consistently found that taking tyrosine before exercise does not improve strength, endurance, or overall exercise performance compared to a placebo. There's some evidence that it may help maintain mental focus during stressful situations, such as intense exercise, sleep deprivation, or exposure to cold temperatures, but these effects do not appear to translate into meaningful improvements in physical performance. Betaine Anhydrous is a compound naturally found in foods such as beets, spinach, eggs, and seafood. It's often included in sports supplements because it is thought to increase the body's production of creatine. Unfortunately, the research does not support meaningful performance benefits. Studies involving resistance training have found that Betaine Anhydrous does not improve muscle strength, power, or overall performance compared to a placebo. The results are similar for endurance exercise. Small clinical studies in runners and other endurance athletes have found no meaningful improvement in aerobic capacity or exercise performance. Glycerol is a compound commonly used in foods as a sweetener and in skincare products as a moisturizer. In the supplement world, it's often included in pre-workout formulas because it may help increase hydration. Research shows that taking glycerol as a part of a hyperhydration strategy can increase the amount of water your body retains. In theory, that sounds useful for exercise. However, when researchers actually test exercise performance, the results are disappointing. Studies generally find that glycerol does not reduce feelings of fatigue or improve athletic performance compared to a placebo. Malic acid and pink Himalayan salt are also included in the formula. These ingredients are often marketed as supporting energy production, hydration, or metabolism. However, there is currently no clinical evidence showing that either ingredient improves exercise performance in healthy individuals. Alpha GPC and Huperzine A are commonly promoted as brain boosters, with the idea that they might improve focus and mental performance during workouts. The problem is that there is little evidence that either ingredient provides meaningful cognitive benefits in healthy adults. Some research suggests that alpha GPC may help improve cognitive function in people with Alzheimer's disease. Similarly, Huperzine A has shown some promise for improving memory and cognitive function in patients with Alzheimer's disease. However, in healthy adults, Huperzine A appears to have little to no effect on cognition, and the same is likely true for alpha GPC. More concerning is the fact that long-term alpha GPC supplementation has been linked to an increased risk of stroke in some studies. Because of this, unless you have a specific medical reason to take it, alpha GPC is probably an ingredient worth avoiding. Caffeine is arguably the most useful ingredient in any pre-workout formula. It can increase alertness, reduce feelings of fatigue, and consistently improve exercise performance. One scoop of Gorilla Mode contains about 200 milligrams of caffeine, roughly the same amount found in 2 cups of coffee. The FDA recommends that healthy adults consume no more than 400 milligrams of caffeine per day. Since 2 scoops of Gorilla Mode already provides that amount, users should be careful not to exceed 2 scoops daily or combine it with other significant sources of caffeine like energy drinks. The remaining ingredients include several B vitamins and magnesium. These nutrients are essential for overall health and play important roles in energy metabolism and muscle function. However, that does not mean taking extra amounts will improve athletic performance. For example, research has found that supplementing with folic acid and vitamin B12 for extended periods does not improve strength or physical performance compared to a placebo. The reason is simple. While deficiencies in these nutrients can impair performance, consuming more than your body needs does not provide additional benefits. Overall, Gorilla Mode is a somewhat effective pre-workout, but much of its effectiveness comes from just a few key ingredients. Caffeine is likely responsible for the most noticeable boost in energy and performance. Creatine has strong evidence supporting improvements in strength, power output, and long-term muscle gains, while L-Citrulline may help reduce fatigue and increase training volume during resistance exercise. Beyond those ingredients, most of the remaining components are unlikely to provide meaningful improvements in exercise performance or cognitive function. Another issue with the formula is the recommended serving size of 1 to 2 scoops. At 1 scoop, some of the key ingredients are dosed on the lower end of what's been studied. At 2 scoops, however, you're consuming 400 milligrams of caffeine, which might be a little too much caffeine. Gorilla Mind's Gorilla Mode is selling for around $60 per month. If your goal is simply to replicate the ingredients that are most likely to work, you could buy caffeine, creatine, and L-Citrulline separately. Caffeine is $1 to $2 a month, creatine is $10 to $15 per month, and L-Citrulline is $10 to $20 per month. Combined, that's around $20 to $40 a month. Rating Gorilla Mind's Gorilla Mode by effectiveness for improving exercise performance, I'm giving it a B. It contains a few ingredients that can improve resistance training performance. However, the benefits for endurance exercise are likely to be much smaller. Rating it by cost, I'm giving it a C. Most of the formula's benefits can be replicated with a few standalone supplements at a lower cost. Rated for safety, I'm giving it a C. The high caffeine content means it's easy to reach the recommended daily limit, and too much caffeine could increase the risk of unwanted side effects. Overall rating, I'm giving a C. It can be an effective pre-workout. However, the high caffeine content and the inclusion of several ineffective or questionable ingredients make it difficult to recommend over a simpler and less expensive stack built around the ingredients that actually have solid evidence behind them. Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Young. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to share them in the comments down below. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And if you know someone who could benefit from this, please share it with them. Finally, if you enjoy what we do and want to learn more, consider supporting us on Ko-fi, and be sure to check out our other socials as well.